Okie dokie. A very good evening from a very reasonable time for me for a change. 8 p.m. on a Sunday. It's actually right in the middle of a long weekend. We've got Monday off tomorrow, and the game is just starting. We've got Kleerkast with white against mastertan with black. This is the first game for the Crazy House World Championships Candidates match. As standard, this stream is on a 3-minute delay to respect the integrity of the games for the players. There's no information from this stream that will be leaked to their game in a reasonable time. So mastertan opening with the early h6. This is one of my favorites recently. I actually saw one of the first people to play this was actually Yasser many months ago. Now knight d5, bishop g4. This is quite theoretical. I somehow feel I don't know if bishop g4 is right here. And I can't tell you why just for now, but the tactics can spill over fairly quickly. c3. I was wondering if there was something to do with knight takes f6. Maybe not. Queen takes f6 could be reasonable. So c3 is a good move. It just means after bishop takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight d4. So castle's now played. Okay, I wonder if Kleerkast is looking for something like bishop takes h6, pawn at e7. That can sometimes be an idea. But yeah, he's obviously having a think. He's maybe bishop takes h6, knight takes d5. Takes would be alright for black. But I think if bishop takes, knight takes, well, we didn't go down that line, but knight at d5. So Kleerkast, strategically very solid most often. Alright. Let me just open up another tab here. So, we have gone for a sack, but it's without the knight on f6. So here, now this is nice. I mean, white's just got even material, but is already starting to make some holes. So I think pawn at g7 though is still reasonable. Uses the bishop. Using the bishop is good for defense sometimes, because when you take a piece, the bishop also defends the square it came from, whereas the pawn does not. So let's just get. Okay, d4. So let's get back to the commentary. This is important. White's got some dark squares to hit, and if he doesn't move soon, then black gets to consolidate in some way. Maybe knight g6, knight f4. Could be covering, even like knight at h5 could be defensive. You want to strike while the iron is hot. And pawn at f6 would be really good for white here. So d4, clearly the move of choice to exchange some diagonals. Here as black, I'd even be considering maybe dropping this bishop, because you just got to look out for f6 here. I mean, this is very defensive, knight g8, but it is very adequately covering f6. I'm not as much a fan of this. I think this helps white progress the pawn from c3, gets the pawn in the pocket. He's already looking at f6. I would have felt maybe you make black work for that one a little bit more. He might be thinking of sacking the bishop, because for that moment the bishop defends f6. Perhaps he didn't want the pawn to capture on e5 and then open up a queen trade. That's a possibility. So got the knight pop on e5. So mastertan's idea is to undermine white's best attacker here. This is solid. And then he gets to replace a pawn here, and he's now threatening to recapture this. So he's had to give up a couple pieces to look after his dark squares, but he has slowed down that attack. And the knights, he's got some nice coverage on both dark and light squares. And this is something mastertan has even written an article about. He's talked about the color complexes you've got to defend. And you can see he's even ignored the bishop here because he's just mostly concerned about this. Maybe he was worried about bishop at f6 and pressure building here. So that's interesting. Counter sacrifice of a piece to try to make some weaknesses on light squares. He's just rolled up like a hedgehog here, so black's got nothing. Well, he's got barely anything on the third rank. White's got all the space, and he's got a material advantage. So yeah, here that's not the preferred move. It would be taking this one. This one is your friend. The one next to your king is your friend. It actually makes it harder for white to attack. Now bishop at f6. You want to attack this bishop on f6. It's probably something like knight at h7, in fact. But then this knight can capture here and can come back. I don't think there'll be enough happening on g2. So you could also possibly consider taking this, yeah. And just saying, well, I'm going to have to let whatever organization of pieces around my king do the defense. Queen coming into the action. Now we're getting into the time scramble. So you've got 2 seconds increment. That's really critical. I'm looking at bishop takes knight at e6 check. No, there's still a knight defending g6. That's rubbish. Don't worry about that one. Okay, I think he could go in pretty hard here or take this one. No, he's going to play sensibly. I mean, mastertan, he could get some material here. Ooh, that's a nasty move. So if you take bishop f5 check, cuts the king off from going backwards, you have to run up. Then I think you've got knight at f3 check, pawn at e3 mate. So that's a poisoned pawn, can't be taken. Sharp moves here with not much to go. Now white's going to be safe back at home. Black would need another knight for e2 and g3 to get rolling. So Kleerkast takes a breath from his attack. Now mastertan still defending. This is a tenaciously fought game from both sides here, but I'd say mastertan has the upper hand now. Still a lot to play for, both sides. Mastertan's just covering up with the defenses so nicely. Knight at f4 here, defending h3. Mastertan on the attack now, he's got the material. Oh, that's going to be mate. Wow, mastertan. He looked dead all game, and that was some really nice defense. Really nice defense. Okay. Knight f6. Early trade. Okay. Queen in the open. So this is an old line. Often queen coming to a5 I feel is a bit more useful. Just makes it annoying for white to play d4. Also bishop b5 is there, like this. There's just it's worthwhile having the queen here. Sometimes you get kicked around with knight c4, but then the queen still has other squares to move. I mean, this knight is actually quite well placed where it is. It defends g2. It's got another good square to go to at times, g4. So drawing it to the queen side is not so bad. So they're just a few thematic ideas. This is a setup that I play quite a bit myself. Some natural development moves. And black is also okay, but if you are not careful, d7 can fall with, the likes of takes, bishop at b7, another knight into e5. In short, there's probably more for white to hit than there is black here. So pawn on f6, very reasonable. You want to stop that knight from coming into e5. Bishop at b7, not much to be concerned about here. This should be defended. Yeah, bishop at d7. The rook is worth about the same as a minor piece in Crazy House. And this queen is actually possibly going to become useful in the future. So we've got a very balanced opening here, in my opinion. Yeah, both players will get the opportunity to show their mettle in this one. Okay, who we got in the chat? Kyle Legion, OKZH, Shaker 90, that's Opal Wezen, White Dancing Rockstar, Kalevix D, sorry. Already got 26 viewers with us. Thanks for joining. Okay, knight at f4, that's pretty much screaming out to be played. I mean, e2 is always a good square. Rook e1, just solidly covering e2. And here's what I talked about. The knight's already on e3, defending g2. So this is the area which will make the games at these high level matches. It's how you can play strategically from these sorts of balanced positions. Now, bishop e7 is okay. I feel that that's a decent move to develop, but this is naturally a square the rook's going to go to defend the king side. G7 is under attack. So, you could argue that's fine because you've got the rook file there. You don't want to let something hit you nasty like pawn at f5, but I was also considering maybe an h5 push here because you've already got the knight on f4, so it makes sense just to go there. The king is already pretty safe here. Sure, maybe there's a central break which you've got to look out for. But if you're really playing for every tempo, I would say h5. And the other thing about it was your knight's going to be under attack from a discovered attack from here. Now, if the knight goes to c4, it's not that useful. If it goes to g4, it is. And that's another reason why I was looking at h5. But look, there's nothing calculated or solid down that path. It's all just thematic ideas. That's just my opinion on a few alternatives. Okay. So who do I like here? I like white a little bit better. White's got some targets, some dark square targets. Knight h4 is still solid for white. And you can see here, like, h5 is not happening now. This knight gets to play where it wants to. This bishop got developed. So I feel like in the last few moves, strategically, white just made some slight gains. And here I feel that something sharper is going to hit. I think just knight at g7 is okay as well. Yeah, I don't know about taking this. Well, let's see what Master Tan sees. Maybe he's seen something I haven't. Knight at d6 check. Okay, so you either rip off the queen, that's what I haven't seen, or he grabs f6. See, that's pretty nasty. Knight at d6 is pretty nasty. You couldn't even sidestep it with king d8 because knight at b7 would win the queen as well. So that's some sharp tactics there. Knight takes f5. Master Tan showing why that's a good move. That was very nice. So what about knight at h3? Is that too desperate? Alright, Master Tan said I'm happy to part with the queen because I've got plenty of fire on your king. Master Tan is looking to burn a hole in Kleerkast defense straight away. Now, white has to be careful though, because knight at f3 takes rook at g2 is mating, I think. So for example, king c8, rook at d8, king b7, rook takes a8, knight at f3 check. Yeah, now that's why you needed the knight in hand though. So we'll stay with the live action here for a moment, but I think mastertan is going to be very happy with this. Yeah, and white's too safe. I'm wondering if king c8 was a try from black. You might have had rook at d8, king b7, knight at a5, king a6, and the black king was running out to the queen side. It looks desperate, but it may be necessary to maintain that knight at f3 threat. And then the other questionable thing was if it was really mating, because maybe king f1 was an option. But anyway, I'm waffling on there without a position to talk to, so it's just going to lose some of the crowd possibly. Alright, this is theoretically, I think, better for white. There's this move, queen g4, that I'm aware of, where white just gets an early look at g7. And bishop d2 is a bit more passive. You're letting black do his thing with a sacrifice. But, yeah, I think there could be a theoretical play with queen g4. Sure, you give up a knight here, but I think this is just so worthwhile, the dark squares. I don't even know like specific lines that follow from there, but feels right. Okay, queen g4. So here black's basically gone, okay, I've sacrificed a piece for 2 pawns, I've displaced a king. This will be not completely unfamiliar for Kleerkast. This is actually a known setup. So yeah, I think it's about here. It's like, can you trap the queen? Can something like h3 work? Oh, it's gone here. So if queen h5, is g4 trapping the queen? Like Kleerkast would be thinking something like that. g4. Do it. g4. So knight at f2 was really nice because it covers the last remaining square for the queen. The bishops cover these squares. Like g4 is like a hero move because it's not that obvious really. I mean, you're probably just looking to defend solid. Yeah, I'm a bit sad that g4 wasn't played there. That was quite an elegant queen trap. Legion the Destroyer, welcome. Got a bit of chatter going, that's good. Okay. Now knight b5, let's just talk about knight b5, because I mean it's not that knight b5 is that bad, I just like g4. So knight b5, hitting c7, I think that itself is also very strong. Like, I mean, winning the queen is good, but knight b5 is also very good. You're discovering onto this, and then there's no way the black can retreat to either of these squares to cover the c7 problem. So maybe black had to capture here and allow the loss of that, then come back to a5. Knight a6 just forfeits the material. You're tying a piece to 2 things here. So it's pretty ugly, but you know you've got to be prepared to go into those sorts of lines. That's kind of what I saw. All right, trade off on e4. Yeah, Kleerkast is going to be happy with this one. So mastertan up 2-0, but I'm feeling fairly certain Kleerkast is going to take this. He's up a piece cold, pawn at c6, taking the knight at f6 coming in. This is all falling apart. There is knight at e3 check to be cautious of. I mean, there's a queen to be lost here. But even then, it doesn't matter. There's going to be mate. So if pawn at c6 takes the knight, knight at e3 check, king here, takes the queen, knight at f6 check, takes, king d8. Never mind about the queen on h5. Pawn at e7 is mate. So this is maybe why he's moving here, to try to make running room for the king. One, I don't think it creates that much running room. Two, no, there's all sorts of choices. Like knight d6, doesn't matter what square the king moves to, this knight's going to have a discovery either on this diagonal or that line. So you could rip off this bishop with check. I think he should just take here. So if you take here, the threat is knight at c7 mate straight away. Knight at e3. I have a feeling with your knight at f6, you should be able to cut off the king. So I'll just explain that line. So takes, knight at e3, king e2, knight takes d1, knight at f6 check, takes, king here, pawn at e7, king c7, bishop at a5 check, b6, bishop d6 mates, because the white bishop's covering here, the bishop's covering here. But he's gone knight d6. Now this is quite clever. He's just done it really solid and safe. He's used the knight to defend e3, so there's no fork. And then he's captured on a6. Very clean. Clean and clinical. He's just given black no chance. I mean, knight at e3 was fine for white, but he's just shut it down completely. I think it's debatable. I mean, it depends on your comfort level as a player, what decision you make there. Me personally, I feel if you see that kill shot and you see mate, or you see that trick that really wraps up the king with mate for sure, you take that option. If you don't see that though, it's also important to not let your clock tick away and make a practical decision to say, well look, I can't find the killer blow, but I'm going to be safe here. And that's what knight d6 and knight c4 is. It's like, well, I don't have the killer blow, but it's good. Hey, but are you about to go to bed? This one is ready for bed. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay, we still don't quite have mate here. Now Kleerkast has to watch the clock. Bishop at h6. What if that was taken? Oh, there's knight check here. Okay, mastertan looking for some counterplay. That's nice. Takes knight at e3 check. Whoa, Bell, careful. Sorry, Bella just took out my arm there. So he takes the queen. There's no mate on the black king at the moment, but not easy to penetrate either. So look, mastertan's getting some miles out of this game. This threat's going to be too much though, I think. I still think it's white's game. So Kleerkast holding on. There's just nowhere to check the king. Yeah, knight at f6, rip off the queen. That's game over. Alright, he's seen mate. Queen at f6. Even better. Alright, hey. Shh. Bit too noisy. Whoa, what just happened there? Okay, he got fancy and he did a few extra moves. Alright. Nice win from Kleerkast. 1-2. Hey Belle. Okay, that's too loud. Daddy's doing a string. Alright. Okay, we'll see you later. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Apologies for the musical interval there. Okay. pawn sacrifice. Early pawn at h3. What's this about? So if queen takes d4, no. Queen d5. So you can take here first. This feels like Kleerkast maybe knows a line or something like that. Bishop at f3, bishop at e4. I still feel white's just up a couple pawns here, and black gets to play a few aggressive moves, but see, pawn at g2, bishop at g2, and black still got something. So not so easy. Maybe Kleerkast knows something. Something about this position. I like knight at e5. If takes, you play queen takes f3. Yeah, I mean, you want that knight for c7 really, but yeah, I don't think it's knight takes c6. I think it's queen takes f3. But the trouble is, then you just run into queen at g2. I mean, Kleerkast is making this pawn at h3 move look like it's correct. I think I like black here. Yeah, I don't know this pawn at h3 move, so it could be quite good. CRPT1 says dual commentary. I need to know how to pronounce your name. Can you let me know? Is it Crypt1, CRP Tone, or CRPT1? What's the inspiration behind the name, and how should I be saying it? And before I say your name again, I'll let you respond. Unfortunately, I need to wait 3 minutes. I'll ask in chat. So not even going for this. He's gone bishop at e4. Pawn at d7. Alright, so if takes, you've got this one. If king d8, you win the queen with check. Has mastertan slipped in another sharp one here? Okay, knight takes. Still looks decent for black. Now there's no pawn at d7 with a knight check, because this recent move has covered off the important squares e5 and c5. But queen at f5 helps defend. Queen at e6 would be check, which prevents the fork from working. I think he was banking on queen at f5, but it doesn't work because of queen at e6. But then you could have knight at e5 check. That'd be a counter check to this check. Takes. But then, you know, well, then queen takes b7 is on at least. You'd have a discovered check, e takes d4. You're probably hitting with the knight. He didn't go for it. Bishop at g4 played. So what? He's looking for queen at d5, I think. Blocker knight at c5. But isn't king e8 just safe? I think this is good for black. Bishop takes g4, queen at d5. Maybe put another bishop on. A bishop's a really good defender here. You could defend with a knight to cover b7 and f7 actually. He's gone with the bishop. Maybe queen takes b7 is not to be underestimated. Yeah, king e8 is just fine here, but I was more concerned about queen takes b7, pawn at c6, knight at d5. You can't go back because of queen takes a8 with check. You'd have to come up. Where was that going? Queen takes, pawn c6, knight at d5, up. I mean, it might have been okay for white. Pawn at c6 kind of locks the queen on b7 out of this diagonal. There's a lot to look at these matches. I mean, in the end, mastertan's just used this queen as a defensive piece more than anything else. Sure, it's got some attack potential, but at the moment, it's just stopping knight at f3 and mating ideas with pawn at e2. So material, absolutely balanced here, absolutely even. I feel a bit like black should be disappointed with that. So what's happened here? Queen at d5. Yeah, maybe it's not fair to say black should be disappointed. I mean, black sacrificed 2 pawns in the opening and now has some weaknesses to hit. Okay, we're getting lower on time. Bishop at d5 looks right. Alright, so Kryptone says, I don't know myself, but okay's choice is common. People are saying Kryptone. Well, tell us what the inspiration behind the name is, then we can make the pronunciation from there. Alright, mastertan kind of went Rambo style here with the queen sack. I don't think there's enough behind it. This isn't going to end well for white. I think Kleerkast is going to equalize here, if I'm not mistaken. Do have to be careful with bishop e7, bishop f4 check. But okay, there's a lot of resource in black's hands. Bishop d2, you could just take this. He's just defending d6. That's a defensive move here. He's chosen to take this. I wouldn't have done that. I would have actually gone for hg and really threatened some mate, because after this, then at least you're making threats. Here, knight at b5 check. No. Okay. Bishop at f3, looking for queen at d1. Knight at b5, you could take. Back off, or mastertan. The clock's ticking. Come on, guys. That clock. I would have taken this to have the knight in hand. Kleerkast is struggling here. Mastertan has found something in the time scramble. You gotta be careful. Yeah, pawn at c2, rook b2. Yeah, bishop takes. Whoa. So he's defended with the bishop coming back here. Kleerkast pulling ahead again. This is touch and go at the moment. Still no clear shot in sight. Okay, now pawn at a3. You take it. Alright, you can grab a rook here. Rook at b2. Looks like it would be the killer. That's it. Takes. Queen at c2, mate. So Kleerkast holds on, but it looked like mastertan was getting away at one stage. That was tight, guys. That was tight. That was a really good fight. From the opening, I mean, Kleerkast threw in that pawn at h3, and that really threw mastertan off. And then we go into the middle game where they had a balanced position, which is unfamiliar, but balanced material and time scramble with a fight. Like, you can't ask for better than that in these Crazy House World Championship matches. So this looks like something new. mastertan occasionally comes up with a new, interesting idea. Knight g4 on move 4. Just I've never seen that before. Idea would be just sacrificing a pawn, but getting some early activity. So 2-all here. Alright, I've decided we're going with Kryptone. Okay, Kryptone, if that's popular. Just so I don't have to say it 3 different times each time I say the name. So, Kryptone also has a channel, and he's been streaming a few of the Elite Crazy House arenas, so please support his channel as well. Of course, we've got OKE with a channel, and also I think Upper Wesen's got his channel up and running, so lots of channels this year. Last year, I felt I was one of the few. I mean, Atrophied used to be more active, but it's really good to have some new talent enter the streaming community. So here, knight takes f7, knight takes, pawn e6, castles I think is what follows, takes. Secure that king on the king side. You don't want to allow bishop takes h6, so that's why knight takes here was good. Just drop this back. Maybe to e7 even. Maybe you shouldn't even move that. I think that's quite dangerous. There's some nasty things that can happen with queen h5 here. Kleerkast has done well here. He hasn't sacrificed any material, but he's making ground. I think he's got to leave that rook there. It could even be something like knight at f6, which just looks horrible to play. Takes, knight at g5 check, and then king back to g8. I just think you have to respect the queen coming to h5 and knight coming to h7, so that's how I come to the conclusion of knight at f6. Now he's gone for rook f6, which is also good. That's covering this rank, giving a bit of support there. It's also covering e6, because there could have been some trick with bishop at e6 check. In fact, I would still be open to queen takes d7, bishop at e6, rook takes, pawn takes. White is so safe here, you can afford to make a sack like that and say, well, I'm going to win the material as I go. So let's look at one continuation. Queen takes d7 takes, bishop at e6 takes. Queen e7, and then knight at f7. Just cleanly threatening rook at h8. Sure, there's knight at g6. But like this is so solid defending that there's no kind of sneaky counter attack. Yeah, I'm not seeing something clear. I just feel there's enough attack potential. You can just go for it. Even here, I think you could still go for it. You've just made black consume a move with rook h6. So after takes, bishop at here, the rook has to come back. You've got knight at h5 for free. If queen e7, rook at f7. Wow, knight f7. Okay, this is getting interesting. So discovery opening up here. If takes, rook at g7 and d7 falls. This is also a very nice move. I just feel like maybe knight at f6 back here. Like, it looks horrible, but if you just use all your moves with your rook just to get it taken, I can't see how that's much good either. This is just a nasty move, knight at g5, and I think we have to respect it with knight at f6. Okay, I'm calling clear advantage for white here. Rook at g7, king here, queen takes d7 check, queen takes, knight f6 check, and you win the queen with check. Either king here, rook takes d7, king across. Should be made with rook takes c7 takes, queen at d7. Maybe you could run up. If you ran back, pawn at c6, king b7, c8, queen here, pawn b4, queen a6 is mating. So you'd have to go king b6 instead of king b8. It's pretty horrible here. Even king here, so if say you didn't run that way, you went knight f6, you got knight here, king here, queen at f6. Oh, does white run out of checks? Nah, you'd have f6 check. King up. what is it? Knight takes e5 maybe. This should be mate. Queen takes d7. I'm calling. If you want to be safer, you could start with rook takes d7, but I feel like you just got to go for the most forceful line. Oh, white will have a bishop in hand, so that's clearly mate. Yeah, Kleerkast, like I said, a bit more conservative. Should still be strong, but maybe queen g5. That's the only thing. This is candidates level, and you just got to be sure. So he's got something here. He's got knight e6. He's good enough. Resigns. Okay. So the inspiration was Corrupt One, a weak enemy from the video game Diablo 2. I stuck with it since I was like 15. Right. So should I call you Corrupt One then? Yeah, the conversation continues on how we pronounce this name. Maybe it's Corrupt One, right? Because there's no actual vowels, but at least it preserves the meaning. Anyway, I played this a little bit in last year's Crazy House World Championship candidates, and the idea here is white gets a bishop to c4, but black doesn't get a bishop to f5. This is just fine for black though, all the same. Nice square for the knight. I don't know if he wants to play h5 here. I feel like Kleerkast knows what he's doing in this position. Rook e4 is an idea. Wow, just sacks the knight there. What's the continuation of this? We take, and then so queen takes h5. So rook takes e5. What you take, you get a back rank, but it's not worth that much. Black's very well covered on f8. I'm a bit suspicious about this knight takes h5 idea. I was considering rook e4, h4. Maybe that's not much better. I mean, like I said, strategically I think black's fine. Now Kleerkast up 3-2. If he can consolidate material here, he's up a piece for a pawn. He's still got decent squares for his pieces to go to. I just don't feel white has sufficient compensation. Pawn at h7 might make sense. You just preserve some kind of potential on the back rank. But this I think Kleerkast will like this kind of position. He can have a little bit of a material advantage, decent development, and he can just strategically grind. That's where he does very well. Queen f6 I'd be considering here even. There he goes, Queen f6, nice move. I mean, everything looks nice. Like white has a rook on g7 and not much else to show for it. So I feel like mastertan's being creative here. He's gained a bit of time, but you know, if bishop h6 here, knight at g4, and you know, black's got all of the guns. So I like black here. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Not too much there. Okay. We're 44 minutes in. They've been long matches, these ones, actually. Long matches. Okay, sorry, got distracted for a moment there. Rook h7, pawn at f3. Okay, I like pawn at f3. That's just an honest. That's an honest knife thrown forward. It's just, I think I've got enough here to come after your king. Okay, pawn at g5, knock the queen back, and now knight takes f3. Maybe that's good. Okay, we lost Kleerkast for a little bit there. What was bishop takes d4 on? Like bishop takes f2? No, king's probably running to the queen side. Pawn at g5 kind of took the wind out of the sails for black. Maybe was pawn at f3 too soon. It looked right, unless something like bishop takes knight at f3, or was it knight at g4? Hard to say. I just felt after pawn at f3, pawn g5 with his queen backing off, like black just did not get a conversion out of the great opening that he had. So let's see how we go from here. You can play bishop c6. I think white will just play the capture and rook at c8. You might though be able to block with the knight. Okay, bishop at b5 is a better move, defending the queen this way. Yeah, this pawn at g5 was sneaky. I can't yet call it if it's right one way or the other. There's a lot of checks to be careful of here, but I think white just runs to the queen side here. There's a lot of safety in this area, in this zone. Just keep pushing to the queen side. Well, he could have come this way, but you don't want pawn at e2 to be allowed, so this is bad for black now. Well, surely that's mate. Yeah, knight at d5, sealing off f6. That's a good move instead of going here. Okay, mastertan strikes back with his pawn at g5. I mean, just when I said, pawn at f3 was looking good, I mean, a bit of unfortunate luck there with the connection for Kleerkast. Maybe he just has to sort that out. Let's just rewind that a sec. I just felt this was so good for black after queen f6 and after rook h7, which is like white's just passive all over. And then pawn at f3, and then suddenly pawn at g5, and then it wasn't looking as good. But maybe black had to go for something like bishop takes here. If you go takes the queen at e7 is not a mate threat, and black's got plenty of firepower. Bishop takes f2. I think like pawn at e2. You hit the queen. You might be threatening something like knight at g4. Not clear. Depends where the queen runs to. I felt in principle pawn at f3 was right. What's happened here? Both have left the game. Okay. So mastertan's telling me Kleerkast, just restarting laptop, lost connection during match and had to switch to phone. Damn. Alright, thanks for letting me know. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I've informed the viewers. Okay, that's unfortunate. Sounds like Kleerkast may have to continue on his phone. Okay, question from the chat. LVO LOL, is Janley a candidate? No, I'm not a candidate this year. I'm actually the defending champion. So the winner of the candidates round will get to play against me. Yeah. So let's while we wait have a look at the current standings. So you know, if you want to look at any of the very well maintained information on the Crazy House World Championship candidates, you can check out my profile just here. The calendar, which is when upcoming matches are going, is here. Cross table is here. So just have a look on my page there. I'm not maintaining this. There's OKE is one of the key guys maintaining this material. He's doing a fantastic job of covering the matches as well. So let's just go to the cross table while we wait. Let me just see if I can find a way to make this work without my head blocking it. Whoops. Windows just went everywhere. Okay. So that's what we're looking like at the moment. We've got Oppelwezen on 7 out of 7. Still consider the favorite. You've got 12-teen on 6.5. 6.5 out of 8. GSVC, fantastic performance, 7.5 out of 9. It's pretty much largely been between these three. We haven't had many matches from Blitz Bullet though. Little Plotkin only had 3 as well, but it's like GSVC 7.5 out of 9. You got Oppelwezen 7 out of 7. 12-teen 6.5 out of 8. You'd need to see a loss from Oppelwezen for the tournament to open up. That could happen. I mean, like GSVC has locked down and secured 7.5 out of 9. Then you've got Blitzbullet on 2 here. And of course, look, I'm still saying, Fumitox. There's meant to be 11 candidates, and he's still got his position open. We'll see what happens where things are developing there. I really think it'd be fantastic for him to join. It's still not too late. I mean, Little Plotkin's only played 3 matches. Blitzbullet's played 2. And it would still be fair game for all the players to still play a match. I mean, it doesn't really disadvantage anyone, in my opinion. And then it makes it a bit more exciting. Then there'd be another game for GSVC to play. Oppo would have to go against Fumitox, 69 at Blitz Bullet. I really hope that Fumitox still joins in. I'm still maintaining. Just so you guys know, let me just see. Hang on, gotta make sure I don't miss the matches. Are they back on? You may see at the bottom right here the Candidates Appreciation Fund. What's behind that? That's basically the target is $1,111. Whoa! We're missing the matches, and that's to respect 11 candidates joining, no matter what number of points they finish on. If we can make the target, then $101 goes to each of their candidates for all of their efforts, for getting into the candidates, for their preparation they put into these games, for all of the time they're spending to fight hard through what should be 10 matches of 10 games of 3+2 Crazy House, so that no one walks away empty-handed. And if you're someone like mastertan here, I think he was struggling on the cross table. He's on 0 out of 5 actually, and mastertan is a formidable opponent. He did very well last year. There's still incentive to play hard and play on just all the way. So let's just recap here. We're at 3-all. Sorry, I lost the side of the coverage just for a little bit there. E4, D5. So here's where the queen went to A5 this time. This is slightly different because this isn't with knight C3 without the trade on knight D5. But early pawn at G4, knight D4. Now this is natural. It's for the knight to come here. He's gone to B3 instead, and D4. So solid development. But knight's placed on the queen side, so you'd want to get your king over to the king side, possibly as black. Queen come up to trade, and knight d7. So yeah, I don't like knight d7 because it allows e6. This is risky. Now, what other choices did you have though? I think white found a nice spot there. Could you play like queen at c5 maybe? Probably just running a queen at b5 check, that's a problem. But this isn't fun to deal with. You've got a weakness on f7, you've got weaknesses here. Queen at e5 check is met with queen e4. Mastertan is just back on tough street here. I mean, like if you're white, you're really happy with how your development's gone. You've got your perfect pawn structure, aggressive piece, a couple pawns in hand, black on the back foot. Like knight d7 just looked like trouble. I mean, you might even have to just give up this knight here, or maybe queen at e7. That's probably just delaying another problem. I'm really impressed with how Kleerkast has done so well in the opening. It's just really natural, strategic play. Yep. You just look at this as black and go, I don't want to play this position anymore. It's just not fun. So he's covering here, but like is the queen at d8, knight g5? You got to run your king up, or is it pawn at f7, knight g5? I mean, here is Kleerkast. You're thinking how you're going to skin this cat. I think this is most accurate. Well, no, king e7. Hold on. Hold the phone. Was maybe queen at d8 a bit better here? Queen at d8, knight g5. You can't run the king back because of pawn at f7. You've got to run here. But okay, that's an obvious one I missed. He's just winning a queen there. I mean, Mastertan's not dead yet, but the clock's no good. Well, he's inviting this one to be taken. That should be curtains. Queen at e7, king c6, bishop at b5, check, bishop c4, queen e3 mate. And if you go that way, bishop at e4 straight away, bishop e3. Clean win from Kleerkast. Goes to 4-3. Now, critical game here. 4-3 is always really critical. If you get to 5 points, because it's best of 10 games, you have at least a draw, and then you have the potential to win. So Mastertan rolling out the double fianchetto. Now, I love these candidates matches when they get to 4-all. That's as tight as it gets, and then that next match, the 9th game, is just really intense because one person guarantees half a point in the overall match, and then the game that follows is also going to decide another half point. So when you get to 4-all, you guarantee 2 high pressure matches to follow. So this, yeah, I'm hoping Mastertan can pull a win here for the viewers, because that's what makes it most interesting. Okay, bishop takes f6. Was he looking for queen takes? And then e3. Why did he take this knight? I'm trying to figure that out. I was actually contemplating d3 and just getting this knight active. White had the time to do that. But okay, this is also a smart way of playing. So instead of pushing this pawn, you play this to get rid of this forward pawn from black. And then you get to clear that space, you get to clear that space. That's actually quite nice from Mastertan right there. Knight at e4, bishop e5, being resourceful, offering the queen trade. Okay. Both players looking to be very solid at home. Balanced position here. Wow, F4. Okay, mastertan. Like you can feel he's pushing this game. Pawn at B2. Nice. Looking to defend with a queen on A1. Got to be careful. Takes. Pawn at H7. That's a poison pawn. Looks like maybe you could take it, get away with it, but you could just sidestep it as well. This is a good move. So mastertan decides he doesn't want to leave a queen on A1, and now he's still solid here. This knight's still under attack. It's a kind of position whereas black, you go, hey, I just want a rook for a pawn. And then you go, how do I use it? And it's not that easy because there's just a force field of defensive pawns and bishops here. Now, don't get me wrong, black has the same kind of defensive wall to break through, but you know, white's got at least one pawn forward looking to chisel his way in. Black's not near these light squares yet. So interesting. Black has the rook for the pawn, but it's that blocked up that it's not really seen as an advantage just yet. Now rook at H7, a wise move, possibly looking to attack, but also importantly defending some squares. There's no concrete continuation after rook at H7. It's just prophylaxis. This is a good place for the rook. Okay, queen d1. I don't know about queen d1. I thought the queen was good on a1 and is just getting a bit more passive here. So Kleerkast looking to clear up some of the space in the middle. He's got his eyes on the dark squares. He says, I'm not coming in through the light squares. Alright, look, mastertan, your name is all over the light squares, okay? So I'm gonna have to go dark squares. That's basically, that's the mental conversation that would be going on. Material wise, white's now got, you know, it's a piece for a rook. It's completely balanced. Both solid. Okay, is knight f3 coming? No, I mean you're just probably opening up here. This is really interesting. You've got two really solid setups. Kleerkast turned the tables a little bit. He's now pushing with a bit of aggression. This is a critical game. Caprorod says, hi Jan, when will you play the final? Well, we'll need the games to be determined from the Crazy House World Championship. I'll just say, hopefully, before 2018 runs out of time. This started like at the beginning of the year, I think. It's been a long event. It's been fantastic that Fishy Vishy has put up his time and money to make such a good event, and we've got such a good community for Crazy House at the moment. Knight at c3. This is hurting. If Queen e1, knight takes e4. White's position starting to crumble. Black is safe as a rock. This is looking like Kleerkast is going to get to 5-3 here. Could be rook d2, but yeah, no, I don't know. I think rook takes d2 was stronger. Even h3 is hanging here. You could just pick this one off. Kleerkast can just grind from here. And Kleerkast has shown some really nice games with strategic play. Material now, yeah, it's 2 pawns. Black is 2 pawns to the good, and with places to put them. You can see mastertan already looking to cover h3 and undermine h7. That's where it is. At least he's got all his pieces on the king side, so here's his pieces where he needs them. But knight g3 is going to drop the queen. Doesn't it drop mate? Possibly. If king g1, it's mate. So king g2 we got here. What's this? What's this? Who's sending me a message? Alright. I have a request from Obadiah Blue Hat. Could you please not back the play up so often? It is really confusing when you do that so often, and it makes us viewers miss the live play. Also, it makes me dizzy. Otherwise, great commentary. Alright, well, sometimes I just like to chase an interesting line. But point taken. So we've got queen at g3 here. This is, wait, he's covered this. We got anything here? Rook d1 check. Is it something like queen takes f2? No. Rook at h2, knight takes. Yeah, I liked rook at h2, knight takes, queen takes f2, knight takes f2, knight at g3 mate. That was kind of sneaky. But it may have ran into problems if you went rook at h2, knight takes, queen takes, could go pawn at h7, king here, rook at g8, takes, pawn at h7. And then there was a knight g5 check coming in. So it may have been no good for black, rook at h2. It's that easy that you can lose this game right here, even though black is in control. So Kleerkast going about it with probably less risky moves. Now queen takes f2, so now knight at g3. But the king's here, the knight's still defending. So I mean, this should be black's game, but you just got to navigate it. Pawn at g3, knight at h5. That seals it. Or knight at f5. King back, queen at g3. So still not quite mate. Bishop takes f3. Okay, there looks like there's a kill shot somewhere here. Okay, he's just taken all the pieces and he said, well, you've got no pawn at h7, check. That's just really solid from Kleerkast. He's not letting his opponent back into the game with a counter-attack, and that's just so important. Well played. Knight at g3 to mate. Kleerkast on top. 5 games to 3. He's guaranteed half a point here. He's now looking for the win. Okay, e4, d5, ed, knight takes d5. So we're going down this path again. Okay, Oppa Wesens asked, would you like a 960 Crazy House event as well for a few players at Janley Crazy House? Yes, I think that'd be really interesting. I think there's a lot of theory coming out now in the game, and I think that 960 Crazy House really keeps it very fluid. I've got to bring that creativity out every time. But let's just try to finish a regular Crazy House World Championship before we get into the next one. It's been pretty grueling so far. Yeah, thanks LVO LOL. Says I'm fine with the backing up. I mean, I'm only backing up because I want to talk about these alternative variations anyway, and I figure it's easier if you know. The viewers can visualize this, so we'll back up sometimes. We won't other times. We can't keep everyone happy, but that's why I do it. I think it's a good visual aid, or else I'm just saying, oh yeah, on move, like we're on move 14 here. Oh, on move 10, if he had played blah 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 blah, and then you can't see it. But I mean, also, like, I think if there's something interesting in the live position, you want to stick with the live position, and if If it kind of fizzled out and there was something more interesting to look at, that's where I think it's more justified backing up. But point taken all the same. So h5. But I like queen takes g6 here for white. Is it trouble with knight at h3? Probably is. Yeah, you can't do this actually. You take knight at h3 check. Can't play king h1 because of smothered mate, queen at g1, knight f2. And then if you take this one, it's knight at e2, king across. Maybe you're okay with that though. How? I thought knight at e2, king g2, queen at f3, but there's king h1, and then white's completely okay. So I think queen takes g6, bishop takes d8. But knowing Kleerkast, he'll triple check that there's no mate before he goes forward with this. The key is that the knight is defending on g2, and the idea of taking g6 is the weakness. Okay, he's committed. He's alright. Now, mastertan declines fg and goes for the one on h4, threatening mate. Ooh, I didn't see that. I don't think Kleerkast saw it either. That's a sneaky one, this one. Okay, pawn at d7. King f8 is the right way. You don't want to go here and let the white queen get out of its attack with check. Black king just maintains both pawns. This pawn isn't going anywhere dangerous. Mate threat still on. If queen g3, knight at e2 check, king across, bishop takes g3. Wow, mastertan. He pulled a sneaky one there. It's like he was actually baiting a queen sack here. So bishop at g3, knight at e2, king across. Okay, this is where you need a master stroke. You've got to be careful because if you take this, you open up the file and this queen is no longer hanging. And the queen is still covering from a knight g3 check. So this isn't over, guys. This is a sneaky play from mastertan, but he needs to come up with the goods here. And then you kind of want a queen for g1, but white never really allows it. So here I'm looking at knight e2 check. Here, bishop takes g3, fg. I want to be able to play queen at g1, knight at f2, but the rook defends the queen. And I can't play knight takes g3 because queen takes g3, takes. That's also fine. So mastertan's probably going to burn a little bit of clock here. You could take this one, but bishop takes h4, and then the attack is slowed down considerably. And this knight's a very good defender. Is there something sneaky with knight at f3 maybe, because then it's no longer pinned. Okay, he settled for that. What's his plan? Knight at h3, okay. Well, now the king can go here because the bishop's covering f2. You wouldn't want to take this because of knight at f3 check. So what's next? You got to look out for your back rank here now. Queen at c8 could come in. Bishop at e7. You also had to be careful. Maybe queen at e8 and like a rook at d8. Yeah, knight at c8's nice. Just blocks off the rook. Just looking at e8. So king f7, nice. We just defend e8 with this rook. Okay, captures this bishop. I think you recapture that, that's okay. No, knight at e5, dangerous. Kleerkast, playing sharp. My other reason for backing up sometimes is I can't go back after the game's finished because we get on to the next game. But Yeah, I'll back up just once here. I was contemplating like a bishop at g3 here, which was blocking off that. If takes, knight at f2, takes, king here, queen at e1, rook at h1. But let's not go to that just right now. This is critical. Knight at e5, the problem. So he plays knight at f3. That's a defensive move first and foremost. But there's no attack behind it. He can just take this. Kleerkast just has the edge today. And I just feel for mastertan because he's looking like he's not going to score here either. And he deserves to win a point, and he's on none out of 5, looking at none out of 6. And I think that really just shows the caliber of this event this year. Mastertan was a strong contender last year and has not been able to make ground. You could take this. Time. Oh boy. I didn't realize how close the clocks were actually. Oh, mastertan, let it tick down, but it could. That queen is on offer. What is going on here? Okay, Kleerkast getting a bit safer again. Yeah, mastertan ran out of time, but he was worse on the position there, objectively. Kleerkast takes it 6 games to 3. After being down 2-0, he wins 6 out of the next 7 to win 6-3. That's really impressive, and these have been tightly contested matches, and he's just shown his mettle in some of the time scrambles as well. Yeah, okay. Alright. A few people saying, yeah, we can't remember the old positions in our head. Okay, we've got a dead rubber here. Let's see where this one went. Okay, alright. That's my little playback, just for me to see what opening it was from. So there's a free pawn on offer here, it looks like, but the idea is white gets a knight for h5 and gets to hit g7. Okay, now I would have considered queen d2 first to maybe just conserve the material with the queen, but you can also go heavy, and you can see Kleerkast even decline the queen, just because it leads to so much potential. So here takes. I think white should be happy. White has all the space. It's completely balanced material. There's a few holes here and there, but black hasn't had anything come off the back rank really. And you've got more pieces in hand. So yeah, bishop b4 is not much because knight g7 falls. You could give up that queen pretty happily, I think. So queen d5, hitting this and this. You do have bishop at g4. Alright, this is nice. It's gone here. I think you can just take that. Queen takes. Bring this knight here. Ooh, okay, defending with... Like, this is the mastertan that I feel he's just fluid here. And probably with the pressure being off, I think he'll convert this one. I prefer white here. I'm tipping mastertan to win already. I'm not saying that white's winning the position, but it just feels like a mastertan win here. Okay. Ooh, mastertan just going for the kill. I think he's had enough. He's just saying, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna get you this game if it's the last thing I do. That's nice. Kleerkast has seen a way to liquidate the attack. I think it's in Black's favor now, actually. This is an army of pieces here. It's just an army. And he's going to get to place that army. And this is going to be a safe king. You just need to put a pawn on g5 and white can't do anything. But you could attack here as well. White's got to run this way. I don't know. Maybe mastertan went too gung-ho here. Was there another way to get in on g7? He didn't really have another pawn to capture. He could have taken f6 as well, I suppose. But after the line he's taken, this is going to be safe for black. Very safe. What? Isn't knight h5 check on? What? What is going on here? Am I missing this, guys? Like, you needed to have a check or just play pawn at g5. This is not on. Knight h5 check. Queen at g7. You win a rook with check. And then mastertan didn't even do it. So, okay. Rook here. You could get mated if you put the bishop on because of takes, knight at a3, king a1 or king c1, bishop at b2 mate. But rook at a1, knight here would be safe. That's the only move white has. You actually have to choose which piece you block with. Takes. Yeah, you go back to c1. If you go to a1, then knight takes c2 is going to be mate because of pawn at b2, knight at a3 check. So king c1 is the only move. But maybe mastertan's seen deeper here. I mean, maybe you get rid of this knight because after queen at g7 there's more to play for. I just found it so bizarre that knight at h5 was allowed. It was very sharp at the end here, don't get me wrong, black nearly had white, but the way Kleerkast has played so far this series, I really expected him here to just say, well, you know what, pawn at g5 and I don't see how you're getting in. And then he's got all the time in the world to play pawn at b4 or back the bishop up somewhere and then knight f3. But look, Kleerkast still wins 6 games to 4. Sometimes when it's a dead rubber and you've already won, you let your guard down a little bit. I just thought it was an interesting finish there. Congratulations to Kleerkast. Commiserations to mastertan. He's now on 0 out of 6, but he deserves to get on the board. Right. I hope you enjoyed that stream. I'm really sorry I haven't been on as much often. You know, my dad's just been in and out of hospital, and we've been trying to sell our old place, and there's just been a lot going on with work and family and everything else. I've just been having the need to get some sleep and having the need to have time for family things. So I am glad to be able to cover tonight's match. And look, please continue to support. We had a tremendous push of donations early on, and then I didn't do many streams. So you know, this slowing down is not due to the supporters. That's on me because we haven't gone forward. But I'm hopeful we'll get some more matches going on. Let's have a look at the schedule. It seems to have slowed down a little bit. We really went at high pace with matches, but I think possibly to some extent, you know, some people lose a few games and might get disheartened and book a few less matches. You can see the winners of matches have just gone and tried to play all of their games, so that maybe that's something to do with it. But yeah, like I've said, like I feel that this is not just about who comes first, and I think some people have made that the focus. I think where you finish in this event pretty much ranks you in the world in Crazy House. So if you're into the candidates, and I'm saying 11 candidates, because I'm still backing Fumi Talks, and I still want him to play. Just being a stubborn bull on that. There's myself and 11 candidates, so you're in the top 12 once you make the candidates. And where you finish in this field, there's a lot of respect for the players that are in here. There's, a lot of us have played the game for a good number of years. Myself, I've played more than 15 years. You got mastertan, he'd be 10 plus years, I'm sure. Kleerkast, 12 teen, more than 5 years. Jay Killer has played the game longer than me. Oppa wasn't only in the last few years, but he's so talented. And these other guys, GSVC, Sexy, Plotkin, like everyone here is playing a fantastic level. And where you finish in this basically says even if you finish 5th, you're like, well, you're 5th or 6th in the world at Crazy House. I think that's a really admirable achievement, and I really think everyone should fight hard for that and just enjoy the matches. So obviously, there's time constraints for everyone, but this is just a great event to be enjoyed for every match. Okay, I'm gonna have to call it a night there, but before, I think I was just gonna check when the next match was going to occur. What do I need to do that? Let's just get one more new window. So the calendar looks like Tuesday. And in my time zone, what time is that going to be? Where are you, Sydney? There you are. Okay. 6 a.m. on a Wednesday, maybe. I shouldn't put forward any guarantees. And I hope someone like OK can cover the match if I can't. But work's going to be really busy in the coming week, and I just don't know with my dad. He's been in and out of hospital, probably 3 times within the last 2 weeks, and it's really touch and go. So I'm just not sure. We'll see how Dad goes. He's currently in hospital again, so he's had another little scare. Each time it's like we don't know if that's the last time. So I don't want to bring the stream down, but that's what I'm dealing with. So I apologize for not doing all the coverage, but there are some real life circumstances behind my shortage of time. On that note, it could be 6 a.m. if we've got Kleerkast versus Juan. That should be another great match. If you don't see it on my channel, just follow it anyway. Just support the game. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hope you have a great weekend wherever you are. It's Sunday night here. I'm going to sign off, get back to some duties. I've got a cabinet to put together at the moment. It's halfway there. Just want to get that done. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Take care.